Morning, everybody. It is October 31st. Happy Halloween. 8:25 in the morning. Lots of things going on in this market as far as news-wise. Um, really quickly, let's just go over the markets. Let's just go over my watch list, see where we're at. Obviously, can't take my eye off this. We don't talk about it a lot, but natural gas is up 11%. Okay. The VIX is up. The 10-year yield is up to 4.0. It's up 0.75%. Bitcoin's up 0.48%. The dollar is up. Okay. And let's see, the Russell is down 0.32. The Dow is down 0.46%. ES down 0.47%. NQ down 0.59%. And crude is down 1.82%. It's down $1.60. Reason for that is China is a huge importer of oil, and the COVID is they're just locking down the country. It's getting negative effects on crude demand. That's why that is happening. Let's look at the daily charts. All right. Before we go into anything, I want to just show everybody what I noticed on Friday. This is the Dow. Look at the Dow. This is pretty nuts because the Dow is not the most heavily weighted tech sector. Look at this literally parabolic move off this double bottom. You wouldn't know because we always concentrate on the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq. That like the Dow is just soaring, and it's closed above its 200 moving average. I mean, this is nuts. I mean, the Dow is has a tech in it, but it's also heavily weighted in healthcare and financials. So that is just crazy what the Dow has been doing. So Dow is closed above its 200 moving average on the daily, right? The Russell has closed above the 100 moving average and broke this 2-day range, right? It's heading towards the 200-day moving average. And then we have SPY hit its 100-day moving average right here on Friday. Okay, it's already crossed the 20 and the 50. And then the laggard of them all, no surprise, triple Qs, hasn't even reached the 50. It's broken the 9 daily EMA and the 20 EMA. I mean 20 SMA. And closed above them, but has not even come to the 50 yet. That just shows how weak tech is, right? But that's really what we need to drive S&P. Okay, Dow obviously is doing fine, so pretty nuts. Okay, let's just look at the SPY, and like I just mentioned, SPY, we were in this little range. We obviously had negative earnings from Amazon, but then Apple came in and saved the day, and then we just ramped up and pretty much just killed all the shorts from these days, and we closed at the 100-day moving, also at this resistance area of 388.42. Okay, pretty big move. All right, I think it was over a 3% move. Okay, in the Qs. Now, if you notice something in the Qs here, this trend line that I'm highlighting, look at that. The third touch. Hit it once, had resistance again, hit it again. So this trend line is very important. Okay, it's very important. You could even see it on a daily of the futures, which I'll show you in a second. I'll just show you that. I can show you that right now, really quickly. I'll just show you that really quickly in the Qs. This trend line. So this trend line in the Qs in the futures right here, you can see it's got one touch, two touch, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in the futures market, 24 hours, this has been touched so many times. It's been resistance 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And now we're pulling away from it in the futures, okay? So let me bring you back Okay, and we'll look at, let me get my trusty tool here. Okay, so now that we just went over what happened in the Qs and in the SPY, let's look at our friend the TNX 10-year yield. Okay, this is rising now. So we had one day. Now today it's rising, and we're coming up to this trend line, the downtrend line. Okay, very important. Very important. Either if we can break out of that, that is not good for equities, right? And this is the smart money. This is a leading indicator. Okay, we have a lot of stuff on the plate this week. Lots. FOMC, non-farm payrolls, like just a lot. Okay, I'm gonna go over that in a second. So we have to keep an eye on the 10-year yield. Okay, right now it is at 4.05, and we're up 1.15%. All right, let's go to that dollar. The dollar is also now starting a little bit of an up. I just actually broke this downtrend, so we're in a little bit of an uptrend now, right? So let's see. This is not good for oil and commodities because they're based in dollars, and not good for equities. Okay, so if this trend line can hold and we start making a move up to this trend line, that is not good for equities. Okay, but we have to see a lot of news coming. Okay, let's look at the VIX. VIX is in a big downtrend. Okay, now we're in the middle of the range from Friday. So the VIX it's up. Wow. Oh, it's up 4.97% right now. You look at closed here. Closed. Let's see. Closed at 25.75. It's already up 20 to 27. Okay. Probably can explain some of that in a second with some news. Okay. All right. That's about it for that. Okay. I'll go back to the SPY. Now, quickly, I'm going to explain certain things why that could be. Okay. I'm going to quickly go to some news. Not news, economic calendar. Okay. And let's just explain what happened. Okay. Some news. I have a couple news coming out. So um, Apple's big supplier in China, which is being shut down because of COVID. So that's a little bit of a worry for Apple's larger supplier. Um, China lockdowns already said it's affected crude. Now the eurozone, okay, the eurozone's inflation data came out, and it was hot, red hot, which is not good. Okay, hence why I think 10-year yield shot up a little bit and the dollar shot up a little. That's really the reason why. Okay, so that's kind of big news fronts. I know Tesla's trying to go into this Glencore, which is I believe a metals miner. It's a miner and for their batteries, so they're looking into that. We have big earnings this week with some semiconductors this morning with ON, and tomorrow's AMD. So we have to look at that. And then for this today, you guys want to trade an intraday futures chart, intraday futures trading, just be at 9:45 the Chicago PMI comes out. Okay, I wouldn't put any positions on because that's gonna like move the markets with some algos. I wouldn't really look to be in a position until after that. Okay, and then I believe there's a Dallas Fed manufacturing coming out at 10:30. So, but this is really, you kind of want to stay clear of that 9:45. All right. Now on Tuesday, obviously got OPEC meeting. On Tuesday, got manufacturing PMI at 9:45, ISM manufacturing at 10, JOLTS at 10. So there's a lot of news. Okay. Wednesday, we have FOMC at 2 o'clock. We're expecting 75-point basis rate hike. So, and if there's not a change in that, I don't expect much from that. But you have to watch and listen to the press conference. Whatever he says, if he's dovish, If he mentions anything about a pivot, a pause, or something like that, the market's going to move higher. Okay, that's what we got to look for. Then we have initial jobless claims on Thursday. Okay, but the real big one on Friday will be non-farm payrolls and unemployment rate. So that's the big news for this week. There's a lot of it. Okay, a lot of it. So that are market movers. All right, let's get into the futures. Okay, let's see what we're doing here. Okay, so you can see from Friday, Friday came all the way down, made a low, but then all the way up, opened here, and we basically just shot up. Okay, close at the highs. Most traded price was at the highs. Okay, that's usually bullish. Okay, now we have the most traded price we have to talk about. Let me get this in view. Maybe the most traded price is down there. Let me make sure you guys have that in the view. All right. So most traded price is 38.45 of the week. The most traded price of the month is still 36.92. Okay. And those are always levels that I have to pay attention to. Okay. So here's our session from Friday. We closed at the highs. Okay. And here's our overnight session right now. The price is right here at 38.86. Okay. So right off the bat, a market profile terminology. This is the midpoint, 38.66, right here. I would say that's a line in the sand. That would be, if we go below it. This is 50%. So think about it as a Fibonacci, 50% Fibonacci. Okay, if we go past this 50%, that's not good. Okay, we could move it down to the most traded price of the week. So 38.66 is a level I'm going to be looking at. Okay, as well as this high volume node here in the orange bracket. So these two in conjunction with each other, you don't want them to fall below it. That's just a little bit of a line in the sand for us to look at. This is still bullish because we're holding above these levels, even though price is here. Okay, that's still bullish because we're holding majority of this move. And to point out, we're 100% net short overnight. Okay, so pretty much we opened here and we've just been driving down. Now, this is a potential long opportunity. Okay, I'll just talk about it briefly because we can get into it later. So this high volume node in the longer term composite profile chart that I show a lot, and the 50% of the mid of Friday should act if we come down here. Okay, and this holds and we start holding, this could be a nice long. Okay, so this is a big line in the sand. Okay, so we're in the session, we're within the session, we're holding up here. Okay, we're above the 5-day, or the most traded price of the week. Okay, everything's pointing to still bullish and unless we drop below 50% retracement. Okay, let's move on to the Nasdaq. I'm just positioning it for you guys so you guys can see it better. Okay, Okay, NASDAQ. Our most traded price in the NASDAQ for the 24-hour chart, they're not in sync yet, is 114.90, 11,490. Okay, price is right here, right now, right at it. No, that is not a coincidence. Price is right there. Okay, our RTH traded, the real-time trading sessions, trading hour sessions, most traded price is 113.22. Okay, so price is above both of those right now. We're at the most traded price of the 24 hours of the last 5 days. So I would say we're still in a bullish stance. Okay, now same thing, 100% short overnight. Okay, same thing in the NASDAQ. This is the 50%, the mid of the session on Friday. Okay, this yellow line is also the 9 EMA on the daily chart. So a little confluence there. Okay, the most traded price on my chart right here is 114.60. Also, you kind of don't want to fall below that either, but I would say this is the ultimate line, is this midpoint, and with the 9 EMA daily, we kind of want to stay above that, right? Now, the only thing that's in our way here is this most traded price of the 24-hour session. Okay. All right, you don't want to fall. If we fall below that, that isn't easy to just punch through. So we'll have some tough sledding ahead of us in the NASDAQ a little more than the ES. Okay. Again, 100% net short. Okay. We close at the highs, but we're inside the session. So it's a little easier now if because it's 100% net short. Okay. Everyone's short. So if we can come down and hold these levels again, and we come back, you can squeeze all those shorts for a nice move higher. But like I said, this is kind of tough sledding here. If we hold this level and this level, we could still push higher, squeeze those shorts from overnight because they're weak hands. Okay, they're weak hands. Actually, I did mention this as well. I have to look back at the ES. But what also I see here, another market profile terminology, there's a weak low here. I mean, weak high. So the overnight high and the RTH high are equal. That means that there's weak hands overnight that have shorted here. So if we come back here again, this is a nice point to get long. Okay, and that is let's look at that level. That is like 116.05. Okay, they're not exact, but they're pretty close. Okay, this level has shorts here that are weak. Okay, well, big money doesn't just look at these little levels. Okay, so if we come back here again, that could be a nice short. You have nice volume, we got nice push. That could be a nice long there. Okay, I'll get more into that details of that later. Okay, I'm sorry I didn't mention the most traded price of the month is 11,100. Okay, we're above that still. Here's the other most traded price of the week, and that's the real-time trading hours, and this is the 24-hour most traded price of the week where we're at right now. Okay. Okay. Let's move over to the 60-minute futures charts. Look at our levels. I'll get some zoom in for you guys. Alrighty. Alright, so clearly we have support here, right? 38.85. Now, once, twice, 3 times, and now 4th time. Okay, so that's a very important support level. Alright, now, I mentioned before in the market profile, you see this high volume node here, right? You can see it in the volume composite profile. That's why I have the orange box here. Okay, so if this holds the market up most likely we're going to bounce. Okay. Remember, I also talked about the 50% retreat, 50, the midpoint of the session as well was right around here. So that's why I said that we could bounce off here if we hold above it. It's a very important level. Okay. Just reiterating that. That's all. Now we have a big resistance line. Okay. 3909. Now look at that. We got resistance once, twice, three times, four times, five times, six times, seven times, eight times. I don't have to say it again, right? I don't have to count those too many, but that is just a big resistance level, okay? So we're in a little range right here. Boop, 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 boop. That we're going to bust out of one of them, okay? So 3909 resistance, 3885 support, okay? Those are the big levels. Of course, what are our next levels, right? Well, huge level, 3872, because that's going to negate, like I said, the high volume node here, and if we drop below it, it's going to take out the 50% retracement of Friday's move. Okay. All right. So two patterns you can see here. We got a bull flag, if you want to call it that, which we have. Right. Got the bull flag going. We also could have a descending triangle happening here. That's why this support's so important. Okay. But I mean, those patterns are patterns. Obviously, they're there, but I don't really just say, oh, you got to do this because of this. I said these levels are very important. Okay. And we have a nice supply zone here too. Okay, but those are the levels. All right. Let's look at the Nasdaq. Now, just so everybody can see too, that's that trend line here that I talked about. That's important in the Nasdaq. It's been resistance a bunch of times. Okay. All right. So we're gonna obviously Nasdaq and ES trade very similarly. So we're gonna have very similar price action. Okay. So here's the range. Here's the range that the Nasdaq's trading in. Okay. And so we got resistance at 115.62. Okay. Could even call it, these candles up here too, but I just hit this double top here. But you can see it's been resistance here and here. Okay, so, and here's that trend line. So really, I want to see it. If we do move, we've got to break this trend line too. Okay, but so 115.62 and then 114.88 support level. You can see why it's been held. Okay, and then we have another level, key level here of 114.40, which you can see it's a big level. Okay, so you can see all the support here. Then it turned into resistance. Then it turned back into support here. That's a very big level. And if we move back through this level, this is not going to be very supportive, this move. Okay. And we have the most traded price of the week here, which we could possibly go down to. Okay. And then below that, we have the most traded price of the month. So we have to see. Okay. Now above us, after we get through this, we got this huge supply zone that's been very resistant with a level of 117.13. There's resistance. Now if I zoom out here to show you that supply level that's been hit, I'll illustrate it. I'll make sure I can show everybody. Get rid of these drawings. Now started here, then it was resistance here, then it was a resistance here, then it was resistance here. Price is here right now. That is a big level to get over. Now if we get over this, hallelujah, we're moving, right? But we have to go over to we and break this trend line that's been resistant as well. Okay, so it's a big level. All right, let's go over to the market profile and we'll map out some scenarios to see that what possibly could happen. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go first for a bullish, slightly bullish scenario first in the ES. Okay, I didn't mention this before and I should have. So let's be clear. We have a weak high here. So this orange dotted line is the 100-day moving average. Okay, so we have that there, and we have this weak high here, just like we have in the NASDAQ right here. They're equal. Very good possibility if we come up there with volume, we can punch through there, get a nice long from there. Okay, pointing that out. That's number one. We're 100% net short. Okay, so reason why that plays into the bullish case, okay, is that because we're 100% net short, which just means everybody's short from overnight. Okay, you can see the whole profile is opened here and everyone's short. Okay, we're getting some excess right now, but not a lot. Okay, so price is here. What I can see happening is this: key levels 38.66 is the midpoint. Key level 38.72, as well as this high volume area, node area. Okay, that's all confluence. Okay, so I can see us now. Again, something can happen with the price in between now and what I'm talking, but it doesn't matter what it does if as long as it comes down here. So if we come down here, and even if we punch through this and we can't hold, you got to hold, you got to accept below it, and we can't. Okay, what's going to happen is, and we start finding some bid buyers, okay, and we start moving up, everybody who's short up here is going to take profit, and then they're going to start to get squeezed, and then it's going to give us the situation where we're going to come back up. This is the most traded price of Friday, and we're going to come up and test. If we test the overnight high and the RTH high, that's that weak high. That could send us higher to 39.30, 39.34. Okay, obviously we can come up here and find resistance again and drop back into range. So that's like a mildly bullish scenario I can see happening. Okay, now pretty much you can guess the bearish scenario. Okay, bearish scenario, I can see us maybe pushing higher a little bit, and one or two things. Okay, I'm just going to give you it, we could even come up to this most traded price and find resistance, come back down here. Okay, it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to give you the bearish scenario because these levels are in the bearish. So forget about what I just said. I want to clear that up. I'm not going to give you the granular. I'm just going to say if we come down here, okay, break the overnight lows, come down here to this important area, which is a high volume node, 38.72 support, and the 38.66, 50% midpoint of the session. And we come down here, break this, and I can see us kind of having trouble with it. And if we break it, we're going down. Okay, and our first destination is going to be the most traded price of the week, 38.45. Okay, dotted line here is the 50-day moving average as well. So there's confluence there. And then of course, what can happen? We can balance here, or we can get some buyers, or we drop back down to the lows. And that's a key level again, 38.21. Very key level. Okay. Now there's a lot of news this week. Okay. There's a lot of news this week. All right. And what I could see also happening, right, is us trying to build value out here, okay? Because we just had a big move, okay? A lot of times when you have a big move, the market needs to digest it. Now that we have this news and an impending Fed decision coming up on Wednesday, okay, we might get some moves on Monday and Tuesday, but the market most likely is going to sit there and maybe trade in a range until that day, okay? Now, again, these are scenarios. I have no bias. I don't know. I can't tell you, no, we're going higher today, and no, yes, we're definitely going lower. I don't have that. I don't have any stake in that game. I don't care. I let the market tell me, okay? However, what I could see, and always door number three, okay, is we can move up here, we could test it, and fall back and bounce off. Okay, market could come down here, and even to here, or balance up here. Okay, waiting for Wednesday. Just a lot of news ahead of us, right? That's what's in the cards for the ES. Now, if we move over to the Nasdaq first, go to the bullish case. It's going to be very similar. Okay, it's going to be very similar to the ES. The only caveat I see in the Nasdaq, and this would affect the ES, is the most traded price of the week in the 24-hour session is this 115, 11,500 right here. We're right at it right now. We want to stay at it or above it, really, because it's going to be hard. These levels are hard to push through. They're not just easily sliced through. So that could be tough sledding for the market, for especially the ES. This could become a drag. However, I will give the scenarios if we go above it. Okay, so really, you don't want to see the midpoint here of the session on Friday be touched. Okay, because you got the most traded price here. You want to stay above this price. You want to stay above around 11,440. We could even come down here and bounce, bounce, bounce. And if we come up here and we can manage to go above this most traded price, we are going to test that week high. Like I said, odds are with volume and a nice push with tech, we can break it and go higher. I don't say because of the looming news that we're going to go to the moon. It just could be a nice push higher. Okay. Of course, we could find resistance here, drop back into range, and balance off. Okay. Now, bearish wise. Okay. Bearish wise, this right here is the box that we want to stay above in the Nasdaq, okay? Because you got the most traded price from Friday, you have that for 114.40, and you have the 9, and then you have the 50% retracement and the 9 daily EMA. You don't want to fall below that. But so what am I going to say, right? If we manage the price to come back here, go through the most traded price on Friday, and we hit the 50%, the midpoint, we could find some support. But if we break it, we probably could find ourselves right here, the most traded price of the week in the RTA session, right? 113.14. Now you can bounce off there, or we can find ourselves back at the lows of Friday. Okay. And most traded price of the month is here. I'm not calling for that, but yeah, we could land there if it's very bearish at 11,100. I'm not calling for that. I'm just saying, this is how these levels work. You keep breaking those levels, you're going to eventually go to another high volume place. Okay. And of course, door number three, like, we can just move up, come back, bounce, move down, balance here, or come back up, balance here. Just balance, waiting for the next of the week. Okay. So that's what I'm going to be looking at. Hopefully you guys can glean something off my chicken scratch that I have on the screen right now. And I wish everybody good luck. Give me a like if you liked what I said, liked my material. If you, let me know if you guys want to see something else or have questions, and subscribe, share with other traders if you can. And I hope everybody has a green day, and I'll see everybody tomorrow. And good luck today, guys.